And good evening, and welcome to the January 2024 meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission in Morganton. We're glad to have you here tonight. We have a number of items on our agenda to discuss, of which two of those are new items. But before we get to them, we have got to address some old business. And that first old business is review and approval of our last meeting, which was in September. Is there any additions, deletions, corrections noted by members of the commission? Hearing none, then I will move that those meeting minutes are approved. Next item is for Wendy to review city council actions that were presented to them in October. There were two items on that for the city council to take action on.
Where are your papers? Mine I left beside of Jackie, unfortunately.
No problem.
We considered an application for rezoning of a variety of properties as listed there on Meeting Union Street to rezone from high intensity to CBD. That was unanimously supported by you guys at the previous meeting, and it was then also supported by City Council, so those properties were rezoned. We also considered the rezoning of property at 770 and 0 Kirksey Drive that were currently zoned exclusive industrial district and were proposed to also be zoned to high intensity district, both retaining the corridor overlay. You guys also supported that unanimously and have a city council agreed and supported that rezoning. Thank you.
Any questions for Wendy? If not, moving on. The next item is appearances. This is an opportunity for those of you in our audience tonight that if you have a idea for the Planning Commission or something you'd like to recommend that's not on our agenda, we entertain that you come forward to our podium, give us your name and your address. Okay, seeing no one for that, our new business is started under item 1. We have a consideration for an application that was submitted by Brandon Dylan and McKinsey Enterprises LLC to rezone the property listed as 0 South Sterling Street. This property is currently zoned medium intensity district corridor overlay, and that's MID-CO. And the application is to rezone to high intensity district corridor overlay, HID-CO. Wendy, do you want to give us the staff's evaluation of this request?
Yes, sir. Chad, if you could bring up the map. So the property in question is this one here on the corner of South Sterling Street and Moose Street. The property is currently vacant, but has had some use over the last several months for a parking area for the Momentum car repair business located at 1908 South Sterling Street. The properties are owned by the same individuals. It is somewhat odd that the rezoning or that the zone changes in the middle of a set of properties rather than across a street boundary. I have tried to find some history for that, and we don't have any. In order for this successful business in town to be able to continue to carry out its activities and park vehicles on this other parcel, the parcel does need to be rezoned to HID, similar to the zone of all the other parcels all the way down South Sterling Street to the interstate and across the interstate. The property at 109 Moose Street is currently vacant. The property to the rear at 0 Moose Street is currently vacant, except for a shed that goes with the house and this other lot at 401 Shady Rest Road. Again, it's continuing the same type of development that is existing down through there. And the proposal is to then, of course, rezone that from MID to HID to be similar to the remaining properties. We do not feel from staff that it's going to have any impact really on the neighboring properties. They will, for both zones, they'd be required to have a buffer adjacent to the rear lot here for any future development that might be on that street, which of course would potentially come later. It would kind of rectify what is currently sort of seen as an anomaly in that area. Should not have any impacts upon traffic or water or sewer or any of that for that type of property. You're not looking to approve the development, just the rezoning of it to be a similar zone to the remainder of that street. As in your packet, and as with any rezoning, it does allow any use to be developed that is allowed in HID and meets the requirements on that property. But the intent at the moment is to continue the use that is currently in violation and attempting to be rectified of the parking of the vehicles there for the business. Those vehicles used to be parked down here on the lower lot, if I can get this to move, Chad, on what was the old Harbor Inn parking lot. But since the change of ownership there and the change to Casa Mexico, the owners of Momentum Car Care have no longer been allowed to utilize that parking lot. So they have been utilizing their own lot, and they'd like to make that official with us. And they need the rezoning to do so. We don't feel that even if it was a different business, that it would have an effect on the adjacent property owners who've all been, I spoke with the property owners at 109 Moose Street who don't live there and explained the situation to them as well.
Thank you, Wendy. Any members of the commission have questions, comments? Okay, hearing none, I'm going to open this up to the public for public comment. And if there's someone in the audience that would like to address this rezoning request, either for or against, please feel free to come forward. Is the property owner here in the,
I don't think they were able to make it.
they were not able to make it, okay. All right, then I'll close that.
Business
and
might still be open.
Come back to the commission for discussion or a recommendation.
Just a quick question. You said it's being used in a non-conforming way now?
Neither motor vehicle repairs nor parking lots are allowed in MID, but they are in HID.
And what about buffering requirements since
The buffering requirements are the same in either zone.
Okay, so they would have to comply with that.
And they do currently have that existing buffer, and it would be their plan to maintain that, yes.
Currently, it's a gravel parking lot, and their overflow automobiles for repair are parked up there until they can.
And the main change would be that they'd be required to pave with asphalt or pervious pavers or other material, at least the front portion of that lot.
That should have never been changed in the middle of a block anyway, so I'll make the motion that we change it from MID to HID.
I'll second that.
Okay, we got a recommendation with a second.
With the overlay.
We need to amend that to add the
With overlay.
corridor overlay. And this also comes within compliance of their Mission 2030 plan.
Yes, sir.
Okay, is there any other discussion or comments? Then I'll call for the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? That'll go with the city council. Jackie, what? That's going to be on February the 5th. February the 5th at, what is that? I get it right yet. 6 p.m. All right. Got it. All right, moving forward, do we get into now the discussion that's going to surely take place is consideration of a zoning ordinance amendment to include text amendments to limit residential use on street frontage in the Morganton Downtown National Historic District. Part of this request is a fallout from the 2018 downtown vision plan that was done, and it was one of the 10 items that were recommended to be accomplished within a period of 5 years after that study was completed. Wendy, do you want to carry forward with
Well, we actually are requesting to pull this item from tonight's agenda out of an abundance of caution in reviewing some of the advertising requirements and basically the size of the advertisement that appeared in the newspaper. we think we have that correct, but out of an abundance of caution, we're asking for that to be delayed until next month so that we can ensure that those requirements are met.
Okay, do you want to even open up discussion within the commission about kind of what the intent?
I think what I would like to do is just take a few minutes to discuss exactly what the amendment is proposing so that the members and anyone here in the audience is aware of that. And then because I think the discussion may change based upon that understanding, because it can be quite complicated when we're dealing with text amendments of that. So I'd just like to, a couple of points about what is being proposed and considered and what is potentially not being proposed and considered. The amendment is proposing only to limit residential uses and residential uses only on ground floor street frontages and only on the ground floor street front, so not other parts of the ground floor that are not adjacent to the street front, and only in the limited area of the downtown historic district as it currently exists and is shown on the map. The wording in what should be presented as Appendix D in the members' package is only what is proposed. There, as Hank alluded to, there were a variety, and there are a variety of lots and lots of, you can probably tell me maybe 30 or 40 different recommendations in the downtown vision plan, some of which apply to active street frontages, some of which do not. What we are focusing on as the residential uses only, because we have had some interest from parties and other applications for more residential uses downtown. And as a planning matter, what we want to encourage in our downtown is for local residents and tourists to be able to walk downtown and interact with the businesses downtown. Not to feel like they're intruding on someone's personal privacy in their home. And if we get too many of the homes in a row there, people won't walk down that street because you're looking in someone's kitchen as they make dinner or watching them watch TV at night, not going, oh, there's a new dress I want to buy, or a bottle of wine I'd like to take home, or a restaurant I'd like to have lunch in. So that's why it applies only to the street frontage, because they're probably not wandering around the back, or shouldn't be, wandering around the back alleys or any other portion or the upper floors or anything of that. So that's the planning reasoning behind that. There are other options in the downtown vision plan for active frontages. There was an application that is part of the package that relates to, that discusses different matters. The planners have reviewed that application, and we have put forth a proposal to you, and it is only that proposal in Appendix D that is what is being suggested. So if you want to just focus in on those changes and the report that explains why, it's probably most helpful. There are a couple of associated definitional changes that require, so essentially the change would be changes to the portion of the permitted uses table only that relate to residential, a description of what the overlay would be doing, associated amendments to each of those type of uses to say what you can and cannot do. So for example, you can still have a door to your upper floor residences or a hallway to your elevator at the back of your building to get to the upper level residences or to get to the residence or something at the back, but you can't have the residence itself facing the front, and you need to have them be able to be separately occupied. The idea is not that you rent a home in the back. We just take an example we're all familiar with. If we turn Swede's Cafe into residential units, you wouldn't want everybody to have to walk through the Morganton General Store to get to their apartment. That's just not the way that would function. So they need to be able to be independently occupied there. This does not make any change to any other types of uses beyond residential, single-family, multifamily, accessory dwelling unit, two-family, the bed and breakfast residential, family care homes. Does not make any change to any other uses. All other uses besides residential, any retail, any office, any civic, any services, barber shops, beauty shop type of uses will continue to be permitted on the ground floor street frontage and everywhere else in the CBD. There's no limit or maximum use of what that percentage of street frontage may be. If you want it to be 5 feet deep and you're the building owner and you think you can make that a profitable retail space, go for it. If you want it to be 90 feet deep, go for it. We don't tell you how wide your business has to be right now. We're not going to tell you how deep it has to be either. There, very importantly, as with any zoning change, this does not make a change to any existing use that is there, residential or otherwise. We're definitely not telling anyone that may be in the audience or anyone else that owns business downtown that one of those businesses is going to have to leave, to anyone that has a residence downtown that that's going to have to move, or anything of that sort. Anything of that is always grandfathered in. If a use were to become non-conforming and be vacated for more than 180 days, that's a different story. But that would only apply to residential uses because that's the only thing that's changing for those. So no changes required to any existing use, business, residence as a part of what is being changed and what is being discussed there. If anyone has any questions or any further discussion, I think at this point we would encourage you to come and have a meeting with the staff over that rather than carry it out and have a hearing on an item that we're not legally sure that we're going to hear here in a public environment of that. So, yeah. I think
Well,
that's
a
summary.
point of clarity is,
Yes, sir.
this applies to the downtown historic district only?
Yes, sir. Not the
and
entire CBD.
Not the entire
And
CBD?
the point of that is that at the moment, that's really the walkable area and the limits. Generally, they say people will walk a 5-minute radius of that. Some of us may walk from Ponta Flora to Sidetracked, but most people are not doing that on the regular shopping trip. So we're looking at that downtown core of that, and we already have a well-laid-out boundary there of the downtown historic district, and that will, we believe, make it less confusing for people about what's in and what's out, rather than have multiple overlays there to use the existing overlay district that's already there.
So this is a change of what we've seen thus far, because initially it was proposed for a new overlay. So you're saying there's not a new overlay district?
It is a new overlay district. The area is matching the downtown historic district boundary. The downtown historic district is not a zone in the zoning ordinance. It applies to your historic preservation matters. And it is not a change from what was proposed in your package. So, I'm so confused.
This is still valid?
Yes, sir.
Okay, one administrative correction. You seem to have a typo.
Okay. We can,
Your active frontage overlay is listed as 321. There already is a
it's
321.
3210.
Not in the, what you sent.
Okay.
You want to repeat that, Pete? I'm a little confused.
Let me see. Appendix D here.
I believe there's a typo. What was sent here,
Sorry.
here's what you sent out here.
Yeah, so that's what's proposed.
Shouldn't that be 3210? All through here?
Yes, that should be 3210, but the one you pointed to before is already 3210. Yes, that's correct.
So these have to be correct?
Yes, sir. We will make that correction. Yeah. What he's referring to is on, which I thought I had page numbers here, but they may have disappeared in creating the PDF. It says 3210 active frontages overlay, and then it says 3.2.1.1 intent. It should be 3.2.10 intent for that number. Yeah, yeah,
I'm with you. Okay.
yep.
I'm gonna, just for the commission's purpose, you have any other questions or comments at this particular juncture? I'm also gonna ask the applicant is represented here tonight. You know, do you have any comments that you'd like to make at this time?
I don't think so.
please come up here to the podium, give us your name,
Yeah, who are you?
get to know you.
Hey, I'm Abby Nelson. At this time, I'm representing Sharon Jablonski. She's in New York doing some important work for CAMA over the next couple of days. But I don't believe at this time any further statements need to be made. I think Wendy did a great summation of what the request is seeking and providing some clarifications, but anything that I'd planned to say tonight, I think would be more appropriate during the public hearing.
Okay. Thank you.
How
Don?
did we come up with 60% as the percentage of first floor?
That's not part of what's being proposed. That was a part of a request that the Main Street Department had, or what is that, Department of Cultural Development had made, but that is not the recommendation of staff.
Okay.
So that is not part of Appendix D that is being proposed. It
Good
is
to know.
limited
Thank
to
you.
ground floor street frontages, and it is up to the property owner to determine how deep they want that street frontage to be and what percentage of the building.
Thank you for the clarification.
Great question.
Any other comments or questions? I mean, I view this as an effort to ensure that the historic quality of our downtown business district remains a
busy.
business district. It's that simple. Okay. And I've been advised by our legal counsel that there is we have a technical glitch in this item. We've probably carried it further than Louis and I would like us to, but I didn't want to waste your time since you've taken the effort to be here and be present for this in this discussion. But at this time, we've been advised that we would prefer to table this until we've met the legal requirements to properly announce this amendment.
We're not sure that we haven't. We just want, out of an abundance of caution,
We just want to make sure.
want to do it again.
And I'll do that in the form of a motion. Do I have a second to that?
Second.
Okay, Pete seconded. Any further discussion or comment? But call for the vote on that. All in favor to table this?
Aye.
Any opposition to that? We will revisit this next, our next meeting. It's February the 8th, 5:15.
Okay.
And on that, I think I've run out of agenda.
Right?
So unless someone other has other items for discussion, then we're going to call the meeting adjourned. Thank you.